Alrighty, there we go. All right, sorry about that. We had a little issue there with my headset. Anyways, welcome in everybody. Joe Quills here with you on this Wednesday night here, a later edition of the show here. Yeah, we started late tonight because I gave AJ all the time he wanted. He called me after the show last night. He says, can I take time from your show? I'm like, take as much as you want, because that's the way I am. I know if I needed some time, I could get it as well. But I'm the type of person where I'll make sure that I'm done by a certain time. A lot of times, like for example, tomorrow night, I will be done at 11 o'clock sharp, so I can get you to Anarchy with Captain Ron. Um, this is probably going to be a quick show. Um, I will. You know what? I'm going to give you a pick tonight for the. I'm going to give you a pick for the football game tomorrow night, the NFL game. So I'll give you that as well. Um, we'll review the picks, and I'll tell you everything that's going on with that. So you see everything that's going on there. Some Ivy League news. The Grinch of the year. What they did was disgusting. Karma is a bitch in college basketball. Cousins is supporting the new starting quarterback, and some awkwardness in the Bronx. And we'll also have a special Wednesday night edition of Philly Fade. Um, so, so I did talk to AJ last night, and we are going to be. Um, yeah, I did give him as much time as he wanted to take, and that's the thing. I have no problem with that because guess what? We're all a team here, and you know, there's no I in team, but there's me. Without me, there is no team. But all right, yeah, you get the idea. But all right, I'm joking around. I always say that just to joke around with people, but a lot of what they do, a lot of what we do is, a lot of work between us, and um, we're not a dysfunctional family. We're bunch of great dudes working together, and a lot of things are going well for us right now because guess what, the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network is coming soon because on Monday the 6th, all our shows will be on the app is actually available both the um, on Apple and on Android. So if you go to the Apple Store or you go to the Google Play Store, you can download that app right now. So I encourage you to do that because all that'll be is another option for you guys to listen to our shows. So more than happy to promote the brand. More than happy to um, promote our brand, and we've been really working our asses off all year, and things are paying off for us. So I encourage you to do so. So, so I don't think this is going to be a long show, but usually when I say it's not a long show, I end up talking for 3.5 hours, and hopefully that's not the case because 3.5 hours means I'm talking till 2 o'clock in the morning. So I don't want to talk too long because I do want to get my article up, at least typed up tonight. So as we get ready for that, and also. I might as well tell you now. Also eligible this Saturday. Um, if AJ is viewing this right now, we're going to be going with Gulfstream on Saturday, and I was hoping that would be the case because there is one race I did want to look at there on Saturday because my juvenile mind, but I'm going to not mention the joke until Saturday morning. But but if you're looking ahead to the races this weekend, we got racing from Gulfstream this weekend, so check that out and check that show on the Bleacher Brothers network. So, well, the Bleacher Brothers video platform. So, just want to let you know about that as well. So it is a fun little show that I do. AJ's on there a lot of times. Frank's on every once in a while. Sometimes I go solo. Uh, I'm also taking suggestions as well. And the one thing I will tell you guys, even with this particular show, I'm always willing to have some constructive criticism. Um, you know, Not necessarily the mess I have behind me. That's something I'll be working on while I'm on vacation. I mean, more than just that, but you know, I know all about that, and it's actually not as bad as what it was. So thank God. But I realized I didn't have the blur on, or the didn't have the blur, didn't have anything of that sort on tonight. So, and I apologize. I had an early morning this morning, so but everything's looking good here. Um, I went to the doctor, got back very early because I got there early. Apparently, there was no 8:45 appointment. I had an appointment at 9 o'clock. Walked in about 10 up. They did the EKG. Everything was good. The annual stuff that they do with me. And they did my quarterly stuff. Everything was good. And he liked my numbers for my blood test. And he also liked that my blood was red as well because, I do bleed Eagles green. Midnight green. I bleed midnight green. I do not bleed Kelly green because Kelly green is for losers. Um, but we everything was good. Came back, but I've been tired all day because woke up had to wake up extra early this morning because I had the early appointment. It's done in such a way because things happen. You get to work and all that. So thankfully, everything is good with me, and hopefully everybody's good out there. And also good to hear from Play Action Real on the Christmas special of the Bleacher Brothers show. So he's doing well. Who knows? Maybe he hops on here one night when uh, when he's up to it. So I mean, I have an open invitation to any of the Bleacher Brothers. Hey, I want to come on. Go right ahead. Just give me your email. Boom, done. So let's get to the news here, and I mean, at least the news I find interesting. Some of these news stories are off the beaten path because I like to do that once in a while because guess what? I'd like to have fun with you guys. You know, Something that maybe some people won't necessarily look at. Um, this first story is affecting the local stories here. Um, Let me see if I can find this here. So the first story here, it affects local college football here, which in a way is a good thing. I know there is when the Ivy League finishes their season every year, there is a bit of a there is a bit of a um, there is a bit of a emptiness when the season is over because the Ivy League champion does not play in the FCS playoffs. They are one AA school, FCS school, whatever you want to call it, but they once their regular season is over, that's it. They're done. They finish up their semester and they get ready for the next one. Or if they're done, they graduate. Well, saw this morning. I think I saw him when I was going to the bathroom too. So I was like, huh? So I was like, huh? Ah. So the Ivy League announced today that they're going to compete for the FCS National Championship. So, starting next year for the 2025 season, the Ivy League teams will be able to play in the FCS postseason. And this is a great thing because, at least for me, because sometimes you have these Ivy League teams that are really, really good, despite the fact that you have the assumption that they're brainiacs. And I'm kind of wondering how Ross Tucker feels about that, because Ross Tucker is an Ivy League guy, went to Princeton. I would love to hear what he had to say. Maybe said something on his show today, but you know, I mean, we have the University of Pennsylvania in University City, literally down the street from my alma mater, Drexel. I mean, seriously, if you were to walk down 33rd Street, you can walk from Drexel's campus to Penn's campus and not even know it until you hit the Palestra. I mean, they're literally neighbors. So, but I mean, I'm excited to see this only because, in a way, I like seeing the one AA playoffs or FCS playoffs, and who knows if maybe Villanova's really good, if maybe Penn is real good. Maybe you get Penn and Villanova in a first round matchup. That will be interesting. But but you still have the monster schools like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, those schools. But it's interesting to see what the Ivy Leagues can do. Also, remember, the Ivy League does not have athletic scholarships, so probably if they're getting money, it's either student loans or um, student loans or academic scholarships. So they don't get it for athletic scholar. There's no such thing as an athletic scholarship in the Ivy Leagues, and also there is no NIL, so they can't take NIL money, from what I know. And if somebody knows that they do, then feel free to correct me. But I'm 99.99% sure they cannot take NIL money because I made a comment about it during basketball season last year, and they told me otherwise. So, but how this came about was uh, the reason. What happened with this change was there was a proposal from the Ivy League student athletes, and the proposal from the league's student athlete advisory committee was approved Tuesday by a vote of the Ivy League Council of Presidents. So they actually said, you know what, let's vote on this. And they did. So the Ivy League said in a statement, um, the Ivy League prides itself on a storied tradition of impact, influence, and competitive success throughout the history of college football. We now look ahead to a new chapter of success and to further enhancing the student athlete experience with our participation in the NCAA FCS playoffs. Um, Also, football was the only sport that the Ivy League teams could not compete in an NCAA championship. That league had long ended its season at the end of the regular season. The Ivy League has confirmed with the NCAA that the league's winner will get an automatic bid to the playoffs next year. So now, if the season ends up like it is this year, they're going to have to figure out a tiebreaker system because Columbia, Dartmouth, and Harvard all earned a share of the Ivy League title this year. Now, you can't send three teams to the playoffs unless all three are like top 10 schools. So they would have to figure out which one of those three gets the tiebreaker. Now, and of course, since this is the next year's the first year that they're going to have a team from the Ivy League in this tournament, they have to figure out who's going to be the automatic qualifier. Now, for all intents and purposes, you really hope that especially with year one that somebody goes 7-0 and just wins a conference that way. But it is a very competitive conference. It may not be the best football, but I'm interested to see what it does because sometimes every once in a while you get this great Ivy League team and they have this emptiness of like, man, we could beat some of these teams that are in here. Like, oh, Villanova, we can beat them. Oh, Incarnate Word, we can beat them. Uh, Even though Delaware's no longer FCS next year, oh, we can beat Delaware. We can beat this school. We can beat that school. Well, now you can see if you can. And, because because I am a Philly sports fan. Um, I'll support all the college schools, even though my two diplomas say Drexel University on there. Um, I've said this numerous times. One guy gave me a bunch of shit about it because he thought I was trying to jinx Villanova when they won their first two championships under Jay Wright. I said, this isn't about who's on your diploma, who's on your what school's on your school ID or anything like that. It's about city pride, even though Villanova is actually in the suburbs because they're part of the Big Five, which is actually the Big Six. Now that Drexel is a part of it. Um, I'm the type of person where I'm going to root for all Philly teams. And by the way, Penn State is not a Philly team. They're more Pittsburgh than it is Philly, but you didn't hear that from me because nobody will listen to me. But be interesting to see because um, some years they've had real good teams and they didn't do anything. But at least now we can see if they can do it. Who knows? Maybe they can pull off an upset or two. That would be cool. So I saw that this morning and had to share that because it kind of affects me as a Philly sports fan. Because guess what? I'm gonna have something to watch over Thanksgiving weekend or whatever weekend that first week of the FCS playoffs are. Uh, so, um, so the Ivy League is getting closer to the 21st century. They now have a team in the FCS playoffs. Now I'm pretty sure they could have athletic scholarships if they really wanted to. So, but that was an interesting story that I saw today. I'm thrilled about that. So good for them for joining, I guess, the 21st century, early 21st century. So good for them. Now, if you've been listening to my online radio station, and you probably haven't, but you know, if you go to mix109radio.us, it is my online radio station. I just play music on there. Right now, I'm playing Christmas music on there. And before I got to, before I realized how I screwed up um, on one of my uploading songs and setting up the auto DJ and stuff like that, I realized a bunch of my songs weren't on there. The reason why is because every 2 to 3 hours, I would keep hearing, "It's a mean one, Mr. Grinch." Well, and of course, it's the 19-minute version of that. So I had to listen after 19 minutes on low while I was working. But I think after what I saw today, and the one thing is, I will tell you that I found it on Yahoo. And I know you're saying, Yahoo, that still exists? Yeah, it still does. But the way that I use Yahoo now, whereas when I was much younger, used to play, you know, card games and dominoes and all the other Yahoo Yahoo games that they used to have in the old days. So, um, but what I do now is I use their news aggregator every once in a while, and I find an interesting story that is pertinent, or maybe we get something that's funny, something that fits the stupid shit that I saw mantra that I have from time to time. But this, and as you can see here with this one and the next story I'm going to have, you know, there's some there's some payback that's there, and you know, I think the conscience got the best of the Charlotte Hornets basketball team. Now this happened Monday night. Whether it made the local news there in Charlotte or it made national news, like on Sports Center or whatever sports show that you watch, or whatever. But apparently, The Charlotte Hornets organization was apparently visited by the three ghosts last night. You know, the ghost of Christmas present, ghost of Christmas past, and ghost of Christmas future, you know, that whole thing. Well, a day after receiving criticism for a skit in which a child was given a PlayStation 5, then he had it taken away. The Hornets apologized and announced in a statement they were making things right. The child will receive the PS5 as well as a VIP experience to a future game. So basically, they said, "Here you go," and then they said, "Oh no, you don't." So I mean, it was really a Grinch move. I mean, it's almost like you're punishing your kid because they did something wrong. You say, "Okay, no video games for a week," but instead, the kid did nothing wrong. Kid didn't understand the joke. The father, I don't know how he didn't punch somebody for doing this stuff, uh, but but you know, somehow this happened on Monday night when the Sixers were in town. I'm surprised I didn't see it on my local news, even though I don't really watch the local news because I'm usually watching something else, whether it's sports or working on other things while I'm working. But surprised it slipped through the cracks on me until this morning. But the Hornets had a statement about this. They said during last night's game there was an on-court skit that missed the mark. The skit included bad decision making and poor communication. Simply put, we turned the ball over and we apologize. We have reached out to the family and are committed to not only making it right but exceeding expectations. We will be providing the fan with the PS5 that he should have taken home last night, along with a VIP experience to a future game. Our goal is and will remain to elevate the guest experience for every person that enters the Spectrum Center and to show our fans how much we appreciate their relentless support. So, whoever thought that this was a good idea to play Grinch and give the kid a PS5 and um, I don't know how young the kid is. It doesn't say on here, and it doesn't pick up the does not pick up the Twitter posts. But whoever thought this was a good idea to play the Grinch game, especially to a little kid, I'm looking to see if I can find this here. Uh, I am actually on Yahoo right now because I have that story about Cody Bellinger, which I found. Um, so let me see. Well, that's actually an AOL ad. You know what? All right, so I had not seen this video here, but I'm going to play it here for you so you can see the incriminating evidence. And whoever came up with this should be fired. Should have been fired on the spot because you'll see what happens. I haven't seen it, but I read the article and that's enough for me. But you'll see this and you can make your own decision on this. So let me go over here. Uh, so this is from Stan USMNT on X. I'm going to share my screen and I will blow this up here for you. There we go. And I'm going to mute my mic here so you can get better listening to this.
Hugo, I have another letter here. It says, "Dear Santa Hugo, I have been working hard in school all shop in 2K needs some work. I'd really love a PlayStation if you have one. P.S. A PlayStation 5. Wait, Hugo, not the one my dad used to play with the square graphics. Ooh. Happy holidays, friend.
Helps if I turn the mic on. I don't have my headset on because my headset wasn't working tonight for whatever reason. Just little technical issues there. Um, but you got to see the video. He got the PS5. He was happy. Looked like he was maybe about 8 to 10 years old, maybe 11. We don't. I don't see how old he really is, but you see, they make you think that okay, he's got the PS5. So then the cheerleader and other people around them were reportedly also confused when the PS5 was confiscated. The child's uncle was apparently informed he wouldn't get to keep the gift, uh, but not the child himself. Um, and I'm going to share this screen here so you can see what was said here because I start clicking on links here and it just shows what a shitty organization the Charlotte Hornets are. Here we go. And Stan says, if anyone wants more details how it went down, seems like they may have been trying to do a skit. Why? And botched communication totally. I still don't get giving kids stuff before Christmas. You aren't letting them have even if it is a setup. This is confusing and really clown show. So, um, so this is what was said in the story that's here, and I don't know who these people are. So, um, this might have been the father. Who knows? Not exactly. We don't know what is going on until like 30 seconds before we walk out in the court. The last kid was like a skit, but the first two were not. So we don't even know what was going on with the last kid when we walked out. They did like whisper to me that they wouldn't get to keep whatever they got, but they didn't tell the kids. The first kid got like a Christmas themed Brandon Miller jersey, and they tried to take that away, and he started crying, so they ended up giving it to him. The cheerleader who was with us had no idea we had to give the PS5 back, so she started getting Jack excited about it and asking if we wanted to keep the bag and everything. And this guy was just like came up like he was trying to take it away. And the cheerleaders and others thought he was joking, and it got super awkward. Uh, then stranger needs to interview the cheerleader. This needs some investigative journalism. Is local news qualified? Might have to bring this in national coverage. So, well, it got national coverage. At least it ended up on my. Um, it got onto my radar here, but I don't think I shared that screen. But I did read it, so whatever. So, um, but here's the most. I mean, here's another thing. So even in the most charitable of lenses, the NBA organization doing a skit in which pretends to be generous is a bizarre look. The team was sold last year for approximately $3 billion, and its in-house entertainment department just had to pretend it had a spare $450 to $500 less if they got it on a Black Friday deal. And their record's 7-19 after they lost to the Sixers on Monday night, and they're whoever came up with this showed that they are a 7-19 organization. They're scumbags, Grinches. That's exactly what they are, and hopefully whoever thought this was a good idea, hopefully they got fired because that is a disgusting thing that they did, especially at Christmas time. Now let's say the kid is having good grades, and you know what? I think a lot of times it's like, we're still going to get you the PS5 kid, I mean, parent wise. So, and sometimes even if you feel like you're not the best, you haven't been the little kid, and you're like, you really think about it, you're like, man, I'm not getting this toy that I want. I'm not getting this PS5. I'm not getting this. And you go downstairs Christmas morning and you see that, you're like, holy bleep. Even though you shouldn't be cursing as a little kid, but with something like this, that was a disgusting thing that the Charlotte Hornets did. Plain and simple. How the father or whoever was on the court with the kid did not punch somebody out, knock somebody out, is beyond me. I know if that's my kid and they did something like that and they didn't tell me there was a skit, I would say, well, first of all, you're going to give the kid that PS5 because guess what? You're not embarrassing him. And I'm standing next to him. And if you're embarrassing him, you're embarrassing me. And I will gladly go to jail for my kid if you're going to embarrass him. But, whoever thought this was a good idea should have their head examined. At least that's what I think. So, and karma was a bitch also on the basketball court. Now, on the college basketball court. Now, granted, it wasn't something along the lines of being a Grinch, but Doug Gottlieb is not having a good time at Wisconsin Green Bay, or Green Bay as they're calling themselves, because they're now 2-10 on the year, and they lost to Division II Michigan Tech 72-70 Wednesday. Was it earlier today? Let me double check that here for a second. One moment. But Doug Gottlieb, um, well, he's still on Fox Sports Radio. How he still gets to be a host and still do college basketball is beyond me. Um, he probably, yeah, that was earlier today. That was earlier today. So must have been an early game. So So 1 week after Doug Gottlieb referred to weaker potential opponents as nobody you, and granted, this is the guy that got sued by um, Freddie Freeman's agent because he came up with this totally asinine story about Freddie Freeman going to LA and not wanting to, or some shit like that. So um, after he called weaker opponents nobody you, they lost to Division II Michigan Tech 72-70 on Wednesday for its eighth consecutive loss. Well, first of all, if you're in a long losing streak like this, you have zero room to talk. Whether you're playing Alabama, Kentucky, the top teams, UConn, whether it's them or you're playing Michigan Tech, Holy Family, Jefferson, which is the former Philadelphia Textile and Philadelphia University. You name Division II school, you can name Division III school. I'll even go NAIA. Um, And Mike said in regards to the PS5, my kid would run away with the PS5. Yeah, I would tell him to run. And he would also know to kick people in the balls too. Well, the only thing is, if the cheerleaders have balls, then I'd have to wonder. But 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 I'm not the type of person that's going to say that, you know, I'm not going to force them. Hey, you were born a male, you got to use a male bathroom. But I just think some things, and blah blah blah. So, but anyways, um, and what makes this loss even worse for Green Bay is that Green Bay took a double digit lead into halftime and led by as many as 13 points in the second half before Michigan Tech came back to take the lead with just under 8 minutes left. The two teams went back and forth until Michigan Tech's Marcus Tomaszek hit a three-pointer with 53 seconds left to give the Huskies a lead it would not relinquish. Yeah, nobody you just beat you, buddy. Um, in a news conference last week after the Phoenix's loss to Milwaukee, Gottlieb explained his scheduling outlook and used the now infamous nobody you phrase. Here's what he said. Part of the reason I want to play better teams is like it's 2 degrees outside, it's snowing. I don't really like the idea of nobody you coming in here. What do we learn playing a game where we win by 20? There's a methodology to it I'm going to have to adjust moving forward. Well, it's nice to have one of those cupcakes on the schedule every once in a while. And we could be seeing Doug Gottlieb being one and done if they don't start winning. After that. So um, Gottlieb continued, every game on our schedule is a game that we can lose, and nobody else does that. Now you know why. After Wednesday's loss, Gottlieb took to social media to respond to his viral news conference. He wrote on X, done with this crap. We scheduled up, including Michigan Tech. Nowhere ever I've been critical of anyone on our schedule. Now back to work. But guy's clueless. Um, Now, speaking to the media after the game, Gottlieb was asked about his off court activities and focus on the job. Now, that's fair because he has his show on Fox Sports Radio. He got into a back and forth on X earlier this week with Adam Schefter of ESPN, and he also hosts a daily radio show on Fox Sports Radio, which I mentioned. Now, with this loss, Green Bay drops to 2-11. The Phoenix's past 3 Division I defeats have come on an average of 20 points. And they're 0-3 in the conference as well. So now they got to face Drake, the Drake's Cakes. All right, they're not the Cakes, but you get the idea. Drake is one of the 4 remaining undefeated teams in Division I. So things aren't getting easier for Dougie G there. Gottlieb also said, I'm as dedicated to the job as any human being has ever been. I'm going to see it through until we win a Horizon League championship. This is my dream job, and I will not fall short of 100% effort that's required. Is it really your dream job that now granted, you have to start out somewhere. But is Green Bay your dream job? I don't think so. I think your dream job is to get back to your alma mater, Oklahoma State. But, if you're going to have a bad 1 year, as bad as it is right now, you may not get a year 2. Gottlieb was hired in May after being one of the final candidates for the Green Bay vacancy. He replaced Sundance Wicks, who led the Phoenix to an 18-14 record in his debut campaign and then left to become the head coach of Wyoming. So that's how the position opened up. Gottlieb did not have any college coaching experience, but was part of the staff for the United States team at the 2009 and 2017 Maccabea games, serving as a head coach in 2017 and as an assistant under Bruce Pearl in 2009. So I don't know about you. I think a lot of what he's doing right now is worthy of getting fired. And you hope things turn around. And I'm sure not many people care about Green Bay basketball, especially this time of the year, because, oh, by the way, they got some football team there, the Packers or something. So he may, his job may be in trouble right now. So um, probably the best thing to do is probably fade the shit out of Green Bay right now. Green Bay, the basketball team, not the football team. But we'll see what happens there. Um, so so another thing I do want to mention here. This is something I saw, and I kind of broke it last night, but I didn't really go into too much detail. And I said get the penis jokes ready because um, um, Michael Penix Jr. was taking over as the starting quarterback for the Falcons. Well, I don't know if this is speak to the media or just make it look like you're actually behind the guy or not. But less than 24 hours after being benched, Kirk Cousins said that he will do what he can to help the new Atlanta starting quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Raheem Morris yesterday made the decision to start Penix following the team's 15-9 win over the Raiders on Monday Night Football. Cousins struggled in that contest and was limited in the game plan. He now has 9 interceptions in his last 5 games. Um, Cousins said it's pro football that there's a standard that I have for myself. That's the team has for me, and that unfortunately I wasn't playing up to the standards consistently enough. And so it is what it is, and you roll with it. And now you got to get ready, one play away kind of thing, and support Mike, and just try to help our team find a way to win these last 3 to get to playoffs, and that's what it's all about. So I don't know if this is actually true Kirk Cousins or it's just speak just to keep unity in the locker room. My nose is itching like crazy right now, but I don't know if it's if And the thing is, I'm sure that there's video and you can actually take a look and you say, yeah, he is pretty sincere, but he probably is sincere. But Cousins said he spoke with Morris on the phone Tuesday evening, was informed that Penix would start moving forward. After that, Cousins said he called the rookie. Cousins said just to let him know that I'd be in his corner and supporting him and trying to help him in any way I can. So, I mean, yeah, I think he knew it was coming. He knew that they drafted a quarterback and all that. I mean, quarterback move that shocked the hell out of all of us. But he did have a interesting. I mean, he's 36 year old. He did have that Achilles injury last year. I believe it was his right Achilles because I always ask, one thing I ask is, was his right leg or was his left leg? Aaron Rodgers hurt his left Achilles. Cousins hurt his right. Now, the reason why I say that is, even though it's more, I'm thinking more baseball wise and football wise, it's pushing off that back leg. And for a right hander, it's that right leg. So, but Aaron Rodgers, it may just be that he's now 41. For Kirk Cousins, it may just be that maybe even though he's back and he's maybe I mean, it may even be a combination of things. It may also be okay. The offense doesn't suit him, for example, or something. Maybe it is his leg. Maybe his leg isn't 100%. I mean, it's 100% in terms of the structure, the rebuild. Whatever he did in the surgery. That's the case. But is it really? Is it something else that's going on here? You know what I mean? Because they say it about knees, and I think they say it about Achilles tears as well. Even though you could do everything with no limits in 9 months to a year, in most cases, um, it does take you got to get used to it, and probably have some worry that you may tear it again, but it may be a little bit of everything, maybe a little bit of age, a little bit of may not be fully strong, even though the surgery and everything else does make it stronger. Who knows? It may be psychological. It could be something that's totally unrelated. It could be that offense, like I'm saying. Maybe he just doesn't fit into that offensive plan. Who knows? But, um, but, but the interesting thing is, well, they asked Cousins um, why do you feel like you need to make that call? I like to shoot elephants in the room, so I wanted to shoot one, whatever that means. Um, but but the interesting thing is, Penix said he was shopping with his girlfriend at Costco when he got the call from Morris that he'd be the starter for the rest of the season. He was about to buy a hot dog, but said once he got the news, he wasn't hungry anymore. But um, so the Falcons are 7-7. They're second in the NFC South. They own the tiebreaker over the Buccaneers because they swept the series. They still have a 20% chance of making the playoffs. Um, Now, you would think that they should win this game on Sunday because they're facing the New York Giants. Um, so you would think that he would have an idea of what to do here. The one thing that I said about Michael Penix from what I saw with him at Washington, and some of the limited stuff that we saw even in the preseason, he's a Michael Vick without the legs. He has the cannon for an arm. It's just that he doesn't run as well as Michael Vick because he's blown out his knees a couple times. So, um, we will get an opportunity to see him on Sunday, and you know, and hopefully Kirk Cousins is that teammate where he is going to be saying, "Hey, let's do this," and showing him different things in the quarterback room, getting ready for the game, and asking him what he's doing. Maybe Kirk Cousins is turning into a coach without actually technically being a coach. Peer to peer. Sometimes that peer to peer coaching is something that helps you out in the long term. Um, Mars said today that the biggest factor in benching Cousins was his turnovers. He had 16 interceptions and 12 fumbles. 16 interceptions is a league high. The 12 fumbles is tied for the most in the NFL with Baker Mayfield. Cousins did agree that turnovers are a killer in the NFL, and reiterated that despite coming back from a torn Achilles, he's not injured. So, um, as far as the future beyond the season, Cousins said he'll deal with that as it comes along. Um, he said, I haven't forgotten how to play quarterback. Certainly, turnovers not what you want, but I didn't forget how to play. So I mean, I think he knows he still has the ability, and maybe it's something psychological with the leg, even though he's perfectly fine with that. Maybe it's something like that, or maybe the expectations were maybe too high. I don't know. Because I don't like going X's and O's. I like to think a little bit outside the box for you guys, and it's just a weird, just an interesting time they do it with 3 games left in the season, and they are right now Let me pull up the standings here right now. Um, okay, so Atlanta is 7-7. They're one game behind the Bucks. So if Atlanta wins and Tampa Bay loses, if Tampa loses one more game than what the Atlanta Falcons do the rest of the way, the Falcons will win the division. Um, so they're 7-7. They got 3 games left. The Falcons play. Um, they play the Giants this week. Then they play a Sunday night game at Washington. I'm still shocked that they kept that game, but I'm guaranteed that Fox decided to block the Eagles from going to Sunday night football against the Cowboys. Um, and then week 18, they have the Panthers. The Panthers is a tricky game. Washington, it's winnable, but it's tricky as well. The Giants game, that is very winnable. So they probably have to win out. Whether they can do it or not, that's another thing, and we'll see. So so that is something that we will look at here. Um, so just want to remind you once again before we get to our final story here, which is a bit of a weird story. Um, do also want to remind you once again that Also Eligible will be live on Saturday. Uh, AJ will be returning Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on the Bleacher Brothers video platforms, and we will be looking at Gulfstream Park. Um, I was in one of those things where do I want to do this? Do I not? But also because there is a race that I have a joke that's been waiting for me to swing to the fences on for the last week. And I might have told the joke to Mike, I might not have. And if I didn't, then he's just going to have to wait till Saturday. But we will be looking at the races from Gulfstream. And they have 11 races on the card. I think they have 3 or 4 stakes races, a couple of grade 3 races. And also, I checked the night, which actually tipped the scales towards Gulfstream this weekend. If you go to FanDuel Racing, now the one thing is you can go to the FanDuel account. You can go to the FanDuel. Well, first of all, go to Bleacher Brothers if you do not have a FanDuel account, because if you go there, use our link, get the promotion. And it's bet $5, you get 150 back if your bet loses, or if your bet wins. I think. Let me just get that right here because. Um, uh, it's bet 5, get $150 in bonus bets. It's also saying you get 3 months of NBA League Pass. I'm not going to. I'm going to say bet 5, get 150 in bonus bets. That's what I'm worried about the most right now for you guys. So then, after you win a little bit, then what you do is you go to the FanDuel Racing portion. They have a promotion there where the first wager up to $500, no sweat. So if you're really feeling good about a horse, just don't feel underneath because he may be a little bit sensitive there. Uh, but you can go there. You can bet some money there, and from what I found out is as long as it's your first wager on the FanDuel Racing platform, you're fine. You don't have to opt in. But double check the promotion first because if you have to opt in, do it. The promotion for Saturday, you will have to opt in because the Saturday promotion, You bet up to $5 to win. You get up to $5 back if your horse finishes second and third, depending upon the field size. So, um, but the one thing I will say is, if you go to the FanDuel Racing one, now you can play on FanDuel in the sports book and in the casino for months. But if you've never made a wager on FanDuel Racing, you can go there and go all in, and you get those you get that $500 in credits. So, or up to 500, I should say, because if it's 100 you bet on, you'll get 100 back if your horse doesn't win. Me, I sucked at the promotion because my horse won whatever I played that day. But just a little joke around. Um, but so we're going to be looking at Gulfstream on Saturday. That show will begin at 10 a.m. Who knows? Maybe we go a little long on that because we might have a big announcement on Saturday as well, even though Mike already knows what it is. We might have mentioned it before, but either way, we'll mention it on Saturday, hopefully. So we'll get to there. So, did see this here. This is a story that I mentioned before. Um, and this is about um, the Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia. Um, he was seeking an extra year of eligibility because he played 2 years at New Mexico Military Institute before transferring to New Mexico State. But he argued that the NCAA rules on junior college participation counting against eligibility violates antitrust laws outlined in the Sherman Act. Um, Now, last month, Pavia's request for a temporary restraining order that would allow him to play a sixth season, yes, six, was denied by a federal judge last month. However, the Wednesday ruling by U.S. District Judge William Campbell of the Middle District of Tennessee grants Pavia a temporary injunction and that 6 year he's been seeking. Now, um, while he's in line to potentially return as Vanderbilt's quarterback next season, Pavia will still likely have to wait out a legal process over the next few months before it becomes official. Um, uh, Obviously, the unknown always presents anxiousness, according to Commodores coach Clark Lee. Obviously, we want Diego here. We want him to be part of this. He wants to be part of this. There'll be a huge celebration day. He gets the final thumbs up. Um, and if the narrative changes the other way, we're find ourselves to be ready for that too. Um, The Tennessean reported that Wednesday ruling prevents the NCAA from enforcing its rule of restitution against Vanderbilt or any school that Pavia might play for in 2025 that would force the school to vacate wins if the ruling is later overturned. So, so basically, if he's deemed ineligible after he starts playing, the court said, "Well, you can't take those wins away." So that's what that basically means. Um, And the NCAA, Pavia's attorney said that the NCAA has not yet adjusted to the NIL era and continues to impose unfair restrictions on college athletes. The court's ruling is another step in leveling the playing field to allow college athletes to share the billions of dollars due to their labor. I disagree with this ruling, and here's the reason why. What if he never got to a Division One school? You know, because you spent 2 years at a junior college, I can't, you know what I have to say about that? Mike knows what I'm thinking. I just think that, I don't even think NIL was around when he started at that military school. And Mike knows what I'm thinking. You know, I just think a dangerous precedent has been set because guess what? I go to college for 2 years. Oh, now I'm going to be a 7 year student because, oh, I'll now get a red shirt on top of the 4 years you got to make me have an opportunity to get NIL money. No, it's not how it works. You go to school for 4 years, you graduate, you get the hell out. You use your 4 years of eligibility, you move to the pros. Obviously, you're not good enough for the pros because you want another year. Or you realize that the NIL money has a potential of making more than what you're going to make in a rookie year in the NFL. But you're looking at a dangerous precedent here because guess what? Now, those years in junior college don't mean squat now. I mean, it matters in terms of recruiting to get you to a Division One school if that's where you end up. But now, oh, you still have another 4 years of eligibility. No, that ain't fair. It ain't fair to those that play 4 years, or even the bench guy that's playing 4 years. Oh, he didn't get an NIL deal because he's the fourth string linebacker. Oh well. Are we going to get to the point where a fourth string linebacker who didn't touch the field in 4 years gets a fifth year because he didn't get any NIL money because he's the fourth stringer? Come on. And I may be comparing apples and oranges here, but still, it makes it makes no sense that they did this. And the way a lot of these things go, temporary restraining orders and stuff like that, um, or a temporary injunction. This was actually a temporary injunction. That's what I meant to say. Um, you what you do, and you will see this probably either the WNBA when they have their contract collective bargaining agreement go through after next year, after next season. You may see it in the NFL. You may see it in Major League Baseball. The the unions are going to go to a court that is in a labor friendly state, and the NFL is going to go to a state that favors management or non union labor even. So that's why you'll hear the NFL go Texas, let's say Dallas, and you'll hear that the NFLPA goes to New York or Minnesota. I think they go a lot of times to Minnesota, but you do see a lot of that. Um, so you do. So it'll be interesting to see what the NCAA does because, truthfully, it's not fair for even the other quarterbacks on the team. Even though they'll say, "Oh, good for him," now, now with, Pavia does get allowed to play, especially if he were to go into the portal, which doesn't look like he is. We talked about it last night. Today's the 18th. You're 10 days into the transfer portal, and a lot of these schools have picked up new quarterbacks. So the pickings are pretty slim right now for those quarterbacks who want to go into the transfer portal. So, but that was something that was unplanned. I saw that on the Bleacher Brothers site, and yes, I did use Bleacher Brothers for a topic here. So good for me. One last thing before I give you my Thursday night pick here. Um, Saw this today, and we know that Cody Bellinger was traded yesterday to the Yankees. What we didn't know until earlier today is, and this will be interesting to see how the locker room is this year. And this is from People Magazine. Cody Bellinger's new Yankees teammate, Giancarlo Stanton, once dated his now wife. So we have brought a new love triangle to the MLB. Um, so some people who knew behind the scenes about the her history, Bahamian model Chase Carter, um, some people knew about that right away. Fans were quick to notice what may lead to some awkward moments in the Yankees clubhouse. Bellinger's new teammate once dated his wife. Uh, Stanton was first linked to her in 2018 when Stanton was with the Yankees, even. When Carter posted a series of Instagram stories with the baseball player on the beach. Several months later, Carter posted Stanton to her Instagram stories again, this time to commemorate his 29th birthday, according to the New York Post. Um, uh, but the pair appeared to split in 2019, and Stanton sparked dating rumors with actress Priscilla Quintana in 2022, though they never confirmed their relationship publicly. For Bellinger and Carter, that was the beginning of their love story in 2020. Their pair started dating in July that year before welcoming their first daughter, Kaden Carter Bellinger, in November 2021, and their second, Cy Carter Bellinger, in April 2023. Um, Bellinger told people before baby number one, I think a good dad trumps all, blah, blah, blah. And, you see Bellinger with his now wife. Um, so So, needless to say, it will be interesting to see what happens in New York this season because Cody Bellinger ended up with the prize. So, so we'll see what happens with that. But hopefully things run smoothly. And if they don't run smoothly, you're going to have an awkward clubhouse this year. So, from the first time they crossed paths in Tampa for spring training all the way to October, but. Uh, And that may be why he may opt out after next year because guess what? Things just may not work out right. But whatever. So that is that story here. And so we're going to do one thing here. Um, we're going to do the Philly Fade here. We're going to do a special Thursday night edition of the show, a special Wednesday night edition of the Fade. Let me see here. I'm just checking one thing here first before we go further here. I do see one thing here. I just want to see if the other half of what I just noticed is there or not. Um, okay, so yeah, so all right, so I pulled up college basketball. I was just looking real quick. That's not what we're going to be looking at, um, but I did see Belmont was playing tomorrow, and anytime I see Belmont, I go for the Dick Girardi double with Belmont and Monmouth. We actually hit that earlier this year, um, but that's not what we're going to do here. So let me just do one more thing here. Um, so last week, last weekend, last Thursday show, I went 3-2. I gave you South Dakota State minus 19. I told you the whole thing about the cold weather, being in Texas, going to South Dakota. It's an outdoor stadium. That worked. Army Navy over 39 points. That went over. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Or actually, I went 4-2. My bad. Had Jacksonville money line on Sunday. That was a loss. I had Denver minus 4.5. That was a win. I had the Eagles minus 5.5. That was a win. So at that point, once that Eagles game was over, I made up enough ground where I went from minus 20.92 units all the way to a positive 0.24. And then we shit the bed with Seattle. So we're at minus 7.6 right now. So we went 4-2 from last Thursday's show. We're 11-4 this month. 73% winners so far. We're up 7.5 units. Over the last 2 months, for November and December, we are 32-16. We're meatloafing it right now because 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Actually, it's pretty fucking good. And we are up 20.16 units since the first November show. And tonight, we're going with 1 game for tomorrow. And my reasoning is plain and simple. Denver plays LA. Now, this was a game that was flexed to Thursday because Miami and Cleveland, I think, was the Thursday night game. They flexed that out, but they have to announce it like a month in advance. And, this is to the benefit of Amazon. Now, here's the one thing I will say. The Chargers got embarrassed last week. And Denver, they're probably the team that I don't want to play in the playoffs early. Now, I might be Kansas City and I get them in the second round and I blow them out. Okay. LA Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, I'm sure he's not happy with that loss. And on top of that, you have a matchup here that, they got embarrassed at home on Sunday night or Sunday afternoon against the Bucks. Were they looking ahead? Was it just a better team? Was it just that they didn't scheme up well? Who knows? And who knows? They may not even scheme up well with Denver. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm taking the Dodgers, Jesus Christ. The Chargers minus 3 at minus 102. So that is my pick for tomorrow night. Take the Chargers minus 3 at minus 102. So you're getting more bang for your buck there. Very small VIG of 2%. And I am marking it in right now on my spreadsheet. Today is 12/18. NFL, LA Chargers, minus 3, minus 102. Boom. And we'll see if we can get back over, get our units back up on the positive side there. So that's my pick for tomorrow night. Let's take the Chargers minus 3. So that is going to be it for this show on Thursday night. Wednesday night. Once again, apologies for starting late. I did want to give AJ time for for his Christmas spectacular. They had a lot of guests on there, and Play Action Reel was on there, and obviously we did want to have him on the show and everything. But everything is. It was a funny show. We had Mini Tom. Don't want to talk about that too much. You have to watch the video if it's still up because who knows, maybe YouTube took it down or whatever. But anyways, I do want to thank everybody for joining me here tonight. Tomorrow we'll definitely start at 9:00 because I have no laundry to do. I have nobody before me making me late or anything. I shouldn't word it that way, but you get the idea. So the only way I'm not starting at 9:00 is if my internet's down or something else were to happen, or power goes out or anything like that. But We're going to do it live here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. The final show of 2024. Um, Maybe I do a retrospective. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the stories and um, some of the different things that we did. So, Mike, thank you for joining me. Thank you everybody on X. Thank you everybody who's lurking in the weeds. Do appreciate everybody who's watching and listening after the fact. So, I am cognizant of the fact that I do get listeners and viewers after the fact. So I do appreciate everybody. I'll see you in the winner circle, and I will see you tomorrow night for the final show of 2024.